Tim Kirby Russia hot takes. Thank goodness NATO put that destroyed tank in Berlin. You know, guys, throughout this war in Ukraine, we've seen a lot of PR stunts on the side of the Ukrainian side, the West. A lot of PR, less so on the Russian side. Now, PR is actually a good thing. When PR is sort of based in reality, the problem is that a lot of the PR that's been used to fight the war in Ukraine has almost been used like a weapon in and of itself. Like if we create this Ghost of Kiev story, if we create the Snake Island story, if we create all these stories, it's going to be awesome and we're going to win. And well, in a sort of, I don't know, maybe Cold War era-esque battle for hearts and minds, perhaps that could work. But when it's like a war between either our guys live or your guys live, battle to the death, no amount of PR changes that fact. Well, anyways, another example of that, and also not only that, the example of how that's very ineffective, but also an example of how now it seems like the PR is completely swayed to the Russian side, is a proof comes in the form of a tank that was put up in Berlin. I believe it's by the Russian embassy. So anyways, the geniuses at NATO's PR department kind of put together this idea of we're going to put this destroyed Russian tank like by the NATO embassy. They stuck a Ukrainian flag on it to, I guess, sort of send the signal to Europeans that if we don't stop Russia in Ukraine, then Russian tanks are going to come and be in every European capital, as in they're going to take over Europe or something. I think that's the logic. The problem is because the logic wasn't very super clear through some means, whether it be, I don't know, social media or people acting on their own or something out there in Berlin sent the signal. A lot of people have been actually going to the destroyed Russian tank to put flowers to honor the dead Russians, to mourn their losses.
Also ganz wichtig, wir haben hier 2000 Rosen besorgt, den Panzer zu beschmücken, damit endlich unsere Regierung miteinander verhandelt mit den anderen. Nicht immer nur Waffen liefern, sondern auch, dass man mal diplomatische Beziehungen hat und nicht alles immer kappt. Das ist das Allerwichtigste. Man muss miteinander reden, weil wir sind keine Feinde. Weder gegen die Ukraine noch gegen die Russen. Wir sind Freunde. Und das haben wir 30 Jahre.
And now that we've seen protests that you could essentially say are either against the war in Ukraine or pro-Russian in the sense of Russia's interpretation of international relations and all that, somewhere in between those 2 points, happening, in the United States. Apparently they're happening in Italy, in Austria, I believe, as well. So we're sort of seeing this, like, these protests grow across the world that actually are becoming pro-Russian. And now with this PR stunt, NATO wanted to terrify the European population, but almost in a way, the opposite is happening, where it's almost like the Germans were kind of like, Russia, come in and save us from these nutcases. Very, very interesting. One thing we also have to point out is that when the Soviet Union, about this whole tank in Berlin, there's a certain factor that's important to mention, is that when the Soviet Union fell apart, there were a lot of enclaves of German speakers, or at least people who were ethnically German, within the former Soviet Union, throughout Russia and Kazakhstan especially. And for the most part, they all fled back to Germany. So there's actually a very, East Germany, I should say. There's a lot of people who either speak Russian or their parents spoke Russian, or a lot of the people in the eastern part of Germany have some sort of connection to Russia. So I don't know, perhaps if this tank were put up in some other European capital, maybe it would have gone differently. I'm not sure. Well, if it would have happened in somewhere that's extremely Russophobic, like perhaps maybe in Warsaw, it probably would have gone better. But in Berlin, there's a lot of people with sort of mixed feelings about Russia. And as we've seen, there's always these charts that come out that show that despite the fact that they've reunited, East Germany and West Germany are very different politically, socially, so on and so forth. And the more eastern part of Germany is definitely more sympathetic to this whole Putin multipolar world order kind of stuff. So again, it was a very arrogant move that they just assumed that they could put this tank up and that everyone would just bow to it and worship it like some sort of golden idol, when in reality everyone just sort of gave sympathy flowers to the Russian soldiers. So huge PR backfire that is definitely a sign of the times, and the sign of the times is that Through this war, Russia has not become demonized or isolated. It's actually becoming sort of the flagship of this multipolar world order that's winning the hearts and minds of people across the globe. So, yeah, good day for Russia. Bad day for NATO's PR department. So anyways, guys, if you enjoyed this video and you like the opinions coming out of my big fat mouth, then join up on my Telegram channel. That's Tim Kirby Hardcore on Telegram. Link, of course, in the description.